First term that we are going to look at is state. Now, questions that requires you to state a value implies a concise answer with little or no supporting argument. Example, a numerical answer that you can be obtained by inspection, or sometimes it's a value that you have memorized, or a concept that you have memorized. So if you actually do see a question that requires you to state, that means you should be able to actually just recall the answer, or you should be able to get the values without having to do any kind of calculations. Okay, a direct answer. Now some examples where we have questions on state. For example, asking you to state a numerical value. For example, asking you to state the value of G, okay, which is a value that you are required to memorize. Okay, 10 meters per second squared or 10 Newton per kg. Or you can be asked to state the value of C, the speed of light, which is 3 times 10 to the power 8. Okay, so you can be required to state a numerical value. You don't have to calculate, but you just write down the value. Now, you can also be required to actually state a value or term that is from the question itself. Like for example, state the relationship between the force, the weight, and the air resistance. State the value of acceleration based on the speed time graph. Now, if you are required to state the acceleration based on speed time graph, most likely the acceleration will be 0 meters per second squared, because the graph is likely to be a straight line, okay, a flat line. Now, you can also be required to state a concept. Like for example, state the process in which heat is transferred through a vacuum, for example, through a liquid. Or you can be actually required to state a law, state the conservation of a principle of conservation of energy, state the principle of moments. Okay, so you should be able to actually get the answers without actually having much thought. Okay, so this is actually, if you ever see a question that requires to state a value, this is actually a low level question that only requires you to actually either memorize or obtain the answer directly from the question itself.